Hey, call me Shape, and today we're reacting to a video titled, Have Men Lost Their Ability to Talk to Women? Let's get right into it.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're going to be reacting to a TikTok video. So we're going to watch this together all the way through and then reconvene, and we're going to talk about it, and I'll tell you what I think. So this video is from a TikTok creator with the username Avery_Henderson76, and I will link that down below in the description if you guys want to go watch her original video. And the little text that she has on the screen says, have any other single girls had this experience? So let's give it a watch.
So I'm on a date right now, and have men just lost the ability to ask questions? Like, I have asked this man probably 30 to 40 questions in the entire time span that we've been on this date. He has not asked me one. I know every single thing there is to know about him. He has not asked me a single question. I'm literally in the bathroom right now, I'm fully stalling because I just don't want to be here anymore. But what is going on? Why do men have the full inability to not ask women questions about themselves? What? It's crazy. And he's older too. He's in his 30s, and it's come on, babe.
Now, this is not the first video that I've seen about this topic. Actually, I follow a girl named Tinx, and she posted a video about this, I would say a couple months ago at this point. So I knew that I wanted to cover this topic eventually because I've seen a lot of other women talk about this on TikTok specifically. Now, I obviously have some thoughts about this per usual, but I would actually really value your input down in the comments from a male point of view if you're a man watching. If you're a woman, I would love to hear your experience as well. But since I'm going to be offering a woman's perspective here as someone who makes content for men, I would love to hear from the men who are watching down in the comments of what you think and what your experience has been as a man. So essentially she said, why do men have the full inability to ask women questions about themselves? And just off the top of my head, I'm thinking of a few possible answers to this question. I'm going to start with the most mild and sort of work my way up to the worst case scenario answers. Now, I'm not trying to make excuses, but rather try to think of all the answers from both sides and provide solutions for each point. I don't think it's always a malicious thing or automatically means that the guy is awful, the way so many people on TikTok pan it out to be. That's certainly a possibility too, which I'll discuss, but I don't think that's what's always going on, so I want to cover some different things. I think one answer to this revolves around communication skills, the increase in isolation and lack of human connection that so many of us are experiencing, and it's just continuing to get worse, to be honest. I think communication skills are one of those things for a lot of people that need to sort of be worked on and practiced. It doesn't always just come naturally to everyone. Something that would go hand in hand with this would also be nervousness or anxiety, a sort of social anxiety. I know a lot of men who have commented on my channel before have expressed this feeling of anxiety or social anxiety, not just with women, but I think in social situations in general. And again, I do think that this is something that is continuing to get worse as we move towards isolation and move further away from community and human-to-human interactions. I think a solution here for a lot of people would be to be really honest with yourself and make sure that you are not isolating yourself and you're not being a hermit. I know it is so easy to fall into the trap of doing this. Trust me, I get it too. I'm an introvert and a homebody, and I have a tendency to isolate myself, but I do notice the more that I do this and the longer I let it go on, the more I struggle in social situations. So I think it's so important to put yourself in situations where you have to talk to people, say hi to people, practice your conversation skills in real life. It is a muscle that you have to work out, and if you go too long without doing so, it can absolutely get weaker, just like the muscles in your legs, right? If you skip the gym. I've done a few videos on conversations, first date questions, and some other related topics that I'll link below for you, but I don't want you to overthink or script out what you're going to say. I know it might seem like it'll help, but I think for a lot of people, this actually makes it much harder for you, and you're going to come across inauthentic and stiff and come across even more nervous than maybe you would have done if you hadn't prepped so much. So they're just to give you some ideas, some things to think about, but I don't want you to ruminate on them or let them be sort of self-destructive behaviors. And I actually asked my husband, why do you think men struggle to ask women questions on dates or don't ask women questions on dates? And his first answer that he said without even thinking was nervousness. And again,
Okay, I got so much to say. Before I get into our reaction, quick message from our sponsor. We got sponsors now. Today's video is sponsored by Ishmael, a good friend of mine who sells health insurance. And let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, so thanks, Shape. So as we know, a lot of people are looking for health insurance right now. It's open enrollment. I offer free consultations to my clients. We work with small businesses, families, and individuals to find their best health insurance options. Now, we work with all major carriers, Aetna, Blue Cross, Cigna, and United, on their public and private networks. Typically, we save our clients about 20% on their premiums, and we get them PPO networks, which means nationwide coverage. So if anyone listening here could benefit from a consultation, maybe save some money on your insurance or find something better, hit me up, give me a call, give me a text, schedule with me, and I'll see if I can help you out. Let's go.
Yeah, so if you need health insurance or you're looking to reduce your premiums, give my buddy Ishmael a call and let him know Shape sent you. All right, so here's the thing. I want to pick on the girl. The TikTok video said that he was older. He was in his 30s. Guys, 30 is not old. I know when you're 20 and you're 18, you're 19, 30 is old. But you do know there's ages older than 30, right? 40, 50, 60, 70. Those are old. In fact, you're not old until you are a reasonable age to have grandchildren. Then you're old, okay? And that's not 30. Even though I did have one roommate who was 36 and he was a grandfather. Anyway, he might not be asking you questions because he might not be that interested in you. You might not find anything that interesting in you. If you have to try to keep the conversation going, he might be bored out of his mind and thinking like, gee, I hope we hook up. You know? It's not that complicated. Some men don't have, I guess, communication skills, but some men can just not that be into you. It's that simple.
This is something that is far more common than we realize. It's something that I think we can give people a little bit of grace for. Not all of us are incredibly extroverted or thrive in social situations. So I think we can give people a little bit of grace when it comes to this, but I also think that this is something that you just have to work on. But two things can be true at once, and I do think this is something that you have to actively work on and try to get better at. So just in your everyday life, try to say hi to people, smile at people, order from an actual human instead of a machine or something like that. That way you actually have to have that human interaction, and you can practice in your everyday life with small things that might not make you as nervous, so that when you get in situations that would typically make you more nervous, you're gonna feel a little bit better. But to wrap this answer up, nervousness, anxiety, social anxiety, isolation, I think these are all contributing to many of the issues that we're seeing in dating, but one being conversation skills and asking questions. Now, I think another answer here could be a focus on impressing your date rather than actually connecting with them. I think we consistently tell men that their worth is pretty dependent on what they can provide transactionally, so it might make sense why they feel this need to talk themselves up, talk about themselves, or try to impress you rather than creating a two-way dialogue. You know, from a woman's perspective here, I think when a woman goes on a date, she will leave thinking it went well if she feels comfortable with you, if she feels safe with you. I think these are two things that women really need and value when they're on a date with you. Whereas from a man's perspective, they're not going into the date thinking, do I feel safe around this woman? Does she make me feel comfortable? They're probably thinking, well, now that I've got her on this date, I have to make sure that she likes me. I have to impress her. I think this is a cultural or societal conditioning problem where we just have sort of different objectives when we go out on a date, or different desires, needs, wants. So what is the solution here? I think a solution...
Before she gets into the solution, okay, she's right. We have different objectives when we go on a date. Oftentimes for men, it feels like we're on an interview, and oftentimes for a woman, it feels like they're interviewing us. Because women often default to the idea that they're the employer and we're the employee, and so we have to win them over. But I like to switch things up, and I recommend a lot of men start doing this. You become the interviewer, and she's the interviewee. And that way, you got to decide if she's worthy of the job. Because ultimately, you're going to have to take care of her, most likely. Or do a lot of the taking care of her, right? You got to protect her with your life. So, you got to be somebody you want to die for. If you're not willing to die for her, get rid of her. And I'm starting to realize that, you know, if we could get past the looks, because this is a hard thing for me, too. If I don't like the way a girl looks, I could excuse a lot of her bad behavior. And if I don't like the way a girl looks, all her bad behavior is of paramount importance, right? And so what I'm realizing now is, like, we got to say, okay, this is an attractive interviewee, but they got to bring more than that. Looks are not enough. They're not enough at all. And I think if you switch the paradigm where you're the one interviewing, one, you'll be less nervous because you're out there deciding, is this a girl I can spend my life with? If you're trying to date seriously. If you're just trying to hook up with her, then, you know, make sure her breath smells good. Make sure she doesn't seem like She got stones in her head. I don't know. Whatever your qualifications for a hookup is. Also, wrap it up, guys. There's a lot of issues going on around here. You know, I'm just saying. But yeah, I think on these dates, we need to start nitpicking girls apart. Not saying it to their face, but in our mind, like, red flag, red flag, red flag. And at the end of the date, decide if you want to call again. Because I've had many dates where I've never called a girl ever again. Straight up.
Could be understanding that this is clearly not the way to approach it and not how to impress a woman. What is actually impressive is connecting and being genuinely curious about the person that you're on a date with to see if you're compatible. It's to make them feel comfortable and safe and connect with them to see if you're compatible. You can't possibly know if you're compatible if you spend the whole date talking about yourself and you don't get to know the other person at all. But my point with this one is I think a lot of men feel this need to talk about themselves or to sort of sell themselves the way they would in an interview, list off all their accomplishments, how much money they make, what their job title is, all the cool things that they do, what their lifestyle is like, and just continue to sort of hype up their lifestyle to you or talk about themselves and present themselves in a way to you that would make you like them more, because they might tie their own personal value to these things and feel that maybe they need to provide something for you or add value to your life. So they might spend the whole date talking about themselves, trying to impress you instead of actually connecting with you, which is not the move. And from a woman's perspective, is not what impresses a woman at all. I think genuine curiosity, active listening, communicating, that really is what impresses a woman on a first date, and trying to get to know her to see if you guys are compatible and trying to connect with each other. The next answer could be as simple as a cultural conditioning and sort of a confusion around this. I think we often expect men to take the lead, but I think some men might really struggle with this when it comes to a date or a conversation. It's important to have a sort of balanced assertiveness with dating and making sure that you're still showing a genuine interest in the person that you're on a date with and be able to have an engaging conversation. I think a solution here, or something that could really help, would be following a sort of equal sharing type rule. So guys, if a girl asks you a question and you give your answer, at the end of your answer, ask her the same thing back. This is such an easy way to keep the conversation flowing and really get to know her. You're asking the same thing that she asked you. Now on to the more unfortunate.
I don't know. That to me sounds really robotic. If she asks you a question, you ask her back. So hey, what's your favorite color? My favorite color is blue. What's your favorite color? My favorite color is green. Oh, what's your favorite childhood memory? This is my favorite childhood memory. What's your favorite childhood? It just seems like robots, right? We don't need Tesla to design our dates. I want to touch on the fact that she said that this doesn't impress women. Air quotes, impress women. Guys, please, for the love of the Lord, do not try to impress a girl and let that even be the frame of the date. Again, she has to try to impress you. We have this idea. I think we get this so backward in this world that women are just the ones deciding everything in the world and we need to bow down to them. No. Listen, there's a lot of great women, but that doesn't mean that they decide whether we're great or not. Be great and find a woman that could appreciate your greatness. That's it. That's all it is. And honestly, if she don't appreciate it, that's fine. She don't have to hop on your boat. Remember, we're captains of the ship. We don't need to impress them by our ships. I mean, we should build a nice, beautiful ship, but they're passengers. And at the end of the day, some passengers are very picky. They're not going to like everything. And so the goal is not to impress them. If I make a BMW, I make a BMW. Is it for everybody? No. BMW is not trying to impress people that like Toyota. Okay? The prices are very different. The styles are different. They're for two different groups of people. You make yourself a guy that's desirable for the type of woman you want and never try to convince her you have value. You could express it. I'm going to communicate it. You know, when I talk to a girl, yeah, I got a YouTube channel. Yeah, you know, I just passed 5,000 subscribers. I'm on my way to 10,000 subscribers. I'm probably trying to make, you know, a couple $100,000 a month. Just saying. I'm not trying to lead with my wallet. If I'm leading with my wallet, I'm going to be throwing money at you. But if I'm telling you what my life is going to be, that way is no real surprise to you. I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to communicate who I am and who are you. Right? Tell me, what do you do? Are you a stripper? You know what I'm saying? Do you have OnlyFans? You know, are you a librarian? Are you a nerd? Are you prude? You know, this is the conversation. I don't know if prude impresses me or OnlyFans impresses me, but that's just who they are. So I don't agree that we're just trying to impress them. I just think we're having a conversation, trying to get to know somebody, especially if we're meeting from online dating. Most of us are meeting from online dating. So we really don't know each other.
whisper here. Maybe the guy that you're on a date with simply just might not care about you, about what you have to say, about your opinions. And in this case, I would say definitely do not go on a second date with this man. There are guys who simply have a ton of options in women. There are guys who are straight up not boyfriend or husband material, and guys who genuinely just do not care about you. Unfortunately, that's just the reality. I'm not saying that all men are like that, but I think a lot of these men who a lot of women want, who are probably getting more dates with women, might just not care about you. They might not be great guys. Maybe their bank account looks great. Maybe they look great on the outside. Maybe their height is great. But when it comes to what is inside, they're probably not so hot.
But you girls don't date what's on the inside. That's the issue. The issue is you date what's on the outside. The guy that gets all the girls. First of all, it's almost as if every woman finds every basketball player attractive, or every person that has status attractive, or every person that has money attractive. What did Jay-Z say? There's no such thing as an ugly billionaire. He was talking about how women react to him. No girl thinks he's ugly because he got a lot of money. So do people really look for what's in the inside? Very few. If you look for what's on the inside, then just abandon hypergamy altogether. Don't worry about if he makes more money than you, if he could take care of you, which I haven't met a single girl who doesn't worry about if I could take care of them or prefer to take care of me. Not one. Not one single girl. So I doubt that what's on the outside don't matter. What's on the inside matter. If you don't have a nice thing on the outside, they don't care what's on the inside. Just like for women, if we're not attracted to you, it don't matter if you're a great person. The first thing is, are we attracted to you? Do we want to do the hokey pokey and turn our ass around? If we don't, then it don't matter. But I think what's important is that we understand what's the initial attraction. For men, it's your status, your money, your resources. For women, it's your looks, your youth, and your beauty. And then from there, yes, let's see if there's something inside of you. That's what I'm doing. You look good? Okay. Do you have something inside? No? Next. Or a guy, you got money, you're tall, you're blah, blah. Okay, you got something good inside? No? Next. That's how it goes. Usually.
As a collective, we really need to start prioritizing different things when it comes to dating, because what we're doing currently is not working, or it doesn't seem to be working. If you're choosing people based on exceptionally poor criteria, the date is probably going to reflect that. The relationship with this person is probably going to reflect that. And honestly, I think the solution here is just don't date guys like this. And if you're someone who consistently finds yourself attracted to this same type of guy who isn't asking you questions, who doesn't care about you, who doesn't care about your opinions or what you have to say, or just doesn't really care about getting to know you at all, and maybe he's narcissistic. I hate to say that because I know it's a buzzword, but there are people out there who are narcissistic and tend to only talk about themselves. They're very self-centered and they just might not care about you. But if you find yourself consistently attracted to this type of person over and over again, maybe it's a different guy, but he acts the same, he treats you the same, I would so recommend getting to the root of why you are attracted to this. There is always a reason and usually some healing that needs to be done to get to the root of why you are attracted to men who treat you like that. And by no means am I saying that it's all a woman's fault. I think the men who are doing that also need to get to the root of why they are operating that way and why they are treating people poorly. But we can't control what other people do. We can only control what we do as an individual. That includes who you're dating and choosing to be with. The person that you choose to be with is often a direct reflection of your emotional development. And if that doesn't humble you and really make you think about why you're making the choices that you're making, I don't really know what will. Now, I do also think it's pretty easy to tell which category the guy that you're on a date with falls into just based on how they're speaking to you. A guy who is not asking you questions because he's nervous is probably going to be acting much different than the guy who is a certified F-boy player who doesn't care about you. I think it's usually pretty obvious to tell the difference. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's always been my experience. It's always very obvious when a guy is one category or the other. So use your best judgment. I have a few other little things to cover here. One being that I've had a lot of men leave comments on my videos or send me messages or whatever it is saying that they've had the same experience but sort of opposite. So they go on a date with a woman and they feel like the woman is giving them absolutely nothing. She's saying one-word answers. She's not asking him any questions and he's asking her questions the entire time, but she's giving him sort of one-word nothing responses. So then he might feel more of a need to do the heavy lifting and do more of the talking and might end up talking more about himself for that reason because the woman he's on a date with is giving him nothing to go off of, right? So what is he supposed to do? Just keep rapid firing questions at her to get one-word responses? I have to think that if I was on a date now and it wasn't going well or it was going so tragic that they were only saying one thing back to me or weren't asking me any questions, I would just look at them honestly and say, it's been great getting to know you, You have not said hardly anything to me. You have not asked me any questions. I don't feel like we're getting to know each other, and I don't feel like this conversation is productive. Great to meet you. Don't see this going anywhere. It just seems like such a waste of time to go on a date with someone like that. So you don't want to be that person on either side. You don't want to be the one who is contributing nothing to the conversation, who's giving no responses, but you also don't want to be the person who is talking nonstop about themselves and not asking the other person any questions. So again, as I mentioned, I think following that equal sharing rule can be really helpful. If you're stumped on sort of what to ask the person next, just ask you what they already asked you. Because you want to sort of get to know each other on the same level, and this will help you flow through the conversation more naturally and get to know each other gradually as time goes on. Now, this also makes me think of something really interesting that I watched a while ago, where guys were speed dating women. I think it was some sort of like blind speed dating video where they couldn't see the girl that they were talking to. They were like facing behind each other or something. And whenever the guy in the video spent most of the time talking about himself, he walked away from that thinking that it went really well and he liked the girl that he was talking to. Now, I haven't looked into this at all or why this could be happening on a psychology type level, but I would love to hear a guy's perspective on this down in the comments.
Yeah, we feel like women don't listen to us enough. So when we get to talk and express ourselves and we feel like we're being heard and we're not being interrupted and the girl doesn't talk about herself, because oftentimes the girl just talks about herself the entire time. It just is what it is. People are more concerned about... This whole world is full of solipsistic people, right? They're just selfish. The whole world. So yeah, if I get to talk to a girl and I get to express myself and I don't have pushback and I feel like I'm being accepted and I'm being heard, it's going to feel great. We all like to be heard. But I want to talk about this first. Let me go back to the original TikTok video where the girl said that, are men losing their ability to talk to women? First off, you're generalizing. And I thought women don't generalize. I thought women think about the gray area, you know, the nuance. What happened to that? One guy doesn't know how to talk to you on a date, so all of us don't know how to talk to you? Feels like you're overgeneralizing. I'm just saying. No. If you're on a date, guy or girl, and the other person doesn't know how to talk and communicate with you, they could be nervous or they just could be boring, corny, lame. You know, not every person that you're attracted to, you're going to have chemistry with. I'm talking to a girl right now, and I don't know if we're going to still be talking because she annoys the crap out of me. But we have good chemistry. We laugh, we joke, we talk about things. And I remember we're in my apartment, and I had the TV on, and we weren't even watching the TV. So the next time she came over, I never even put the TV on. And we never needed it. We spent hours just involved in each other. And that's, some people have good chemistry. But, you know, we have some other issues, so I don't know if we're going to survive because chemistry is not enough. Looks are not enough. Chemistry not enough. You got to also know how to fight well. And I personally need someone that knows how to learn, unlearn, and relearn. If I meet a girl and she thinks she knows everything and she's not willing to be coachable by me, allow me to teach her, allow me to help her relearn things and unlearn things, I can't be with her. I can't be with a girl that is stuck on her childhood and what she learned growing up, and that's it. No, I need a girl that could, you know what? She could rethink her presumptions. That's what I need personally. You guys might need something else. You know, if I'm on a date with a girl and she doesn't talk much, I usually assume, they could be nervous, but you know, I'm going to work my charm more, you know, get them to talk about something, find something that they want to talk about. If you're the more talkative person, you need to know how to get the crowd excited. You know, so if that girl who's on a date and the guy didn't say anything, she doesn't know how to arouse him. You know, I meet people all the time that don't know how to talk. You know, they're just not social. Not everybody's a social butterfly, and they have all this charisma. And that's a problem. Girls want you to look good, have all this charisma, have chemistry, you know, obey to her laws, because a lot of women want to control you and tell you what to do. And that's one of the issues I'm having with a girl that I'm talking to. I realize that she wants to be in control. Ain't happening. No. And I don't care if you're attractive. I don't care if you're cute. I don't care if you're smart. I don't care if you got college degrees. I wear the pants. That's just how it goes in my relationship. If you want to date a feminine dude that's submissive and likes butt plugs, then go date the feminine dude that's submissive and like butt plugs. That ain't me. That's not me. I'm just saying. So, shout out to Courtney Ryan. People seem to really like my reactions to her videos. So I'm going to do a few more reactions. Shout out to her. Shout out to my sponsor, Ishmael Stonewall. If you guys need health insurance, give that number a call. He can help you out. He saves people money, and we've talked about this before on the phone. I was talking to him. He's been saving people some real quiche. You know what I'm saying? So if your health insurance is expensive, give him a call. See if we can do something for you. If you can't, whatever. Other than that, like this video, subscribe to the channel. Channel's blowing up. We just passed 5,000 subscribers. Now we're at like 5,200. We're trying to get to 10,000 before the end of the year. I know it's a reach. I know it's a stretch, but you guys could do it. You guys could do it. Okay, I found out I had like, 60,000 viewers a month. So we're getting a lot of traction, and I'm grateful. I don't feel entitled. I'm grateful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But share this video if you really want to help. You want to see the channel grow. That's the most important thing. You can share it. And check out some other videos, and I'll see you over there.